He was just sitting in class until the teacher finally noticed. All his classmates laughed at what a useless loser he was, who could only sleep. The teacher scolded him in front of everyone again. The whole class burst out laughing at the useless sleeper in the back row. Only his friend knew the truth. Every time Liu Qiming shut his eyes, he was dragged back into the same nightmare world full of monsters. His friend dragged him out of class like always, joking to lighten the mood. On the way outside, they messed around, but Liu Qiming couldn't shake off his fatigue. He thought these dreams were just stress and lack of sleep. But when he looked up at the giant screen in the city, he saw the exact same apocalyptic scene from his nightmares. On his way home, he even saw a woman casually carrying a whole mountain of boxes like it was nothing. Back at his tiny apartment, his dad clutched his back in pain from another brutal day of work. Even so, he still forced a smile and joked around to not worry his son. They talked about some health issues, pretending it was no big deal. For him, this miserable life was just normal, and he had already given up on expecting anything better. His dad tried to act cheerful, joking that Qiming should hurry up and become successful. He even poured out 2 cheap drinks, saying father and son should celebrate together. But Liu Qiming knew the truth. His dad's body was breaking down, and all those fake smiles were just to hide the pain. His mom scolded his father for wasting money and drinking again. Even then, they still laughed it off like it was nothing. Watching them, Qiming realized he couldn't stay weak forever. If he really wanted to change this shitty life, he had to start working on himself. Back in his room, Liu Qiming took off his jacket and stood in front of the mirror. He took a deep breath and focused, activating the 19 body exhaustion techniques. The 14th set of radio gymnastics, begin. It looked stupid and outdated, but it was the only training method he had. He followed along with the cheesy instruction video, counting the moves out loud. But in his mind, the simple radio gymnastics turned into brutal training in a monster-infested world. While other students slacked off, countless people out there were already stepping into the new age of martial arts, and if he didn't push himself now, he'd be crushed and left behind in this new era. He sat alone in the cramped kitchen, thinking how everyone else was getting stronger while he was still a weak nobody. The more he thought about it, the more it burned. He didn't want to stay trash forever. So that night, he pushed his body until he completely collapsed from exhaustion. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself back in that desolate nightmare world. A huge beast suddenly charged straight at him out of the darkness. He tried to run, but the monster was already on top of him. Its jaws opened wide, ready to tear him apart in one bite. He rolled desperately to the side, barely dodging death. Terrified, he still forced himself to stand and fight back. If he didn't resist now, this thing would rip him to pieces. He grabbed the nearest rock and sprinted straight at the monster. With all his strength, he smashed it down on the beast's head again and again. Blood splattered everywhere until the creature finally stopped moving. Right after the kill, blue energy exploded out of the creature and wrapped around him. Suddenly, memories rushed into his mind, not of a monster, but of a normal human life. Everything this person went through before they turned into a beast. When the vision ended, he stared at his trembling hands. By killing it, he had absorbed the memories of the human it used to be. A new monster suddenly lunged straight at him out of nowhere. Its claws and fangs glowed with deadly energy as it rushed in to kill him. His eyes widened with adrenaline. Suddenly, his eyes lit up with a murderous glow as he entered a killing state. His body moved on its own. He slipped past the attack and smashed into the monster with overwhelming force. When it was over, he stood there stunned. He didn't even understand when he'd become this strong. Black energy slowly flowed into his arms and chest. He realized this power came from the zombie he had just killed. Killing it didn't only give him that man's past memories, it also let him steal his strength. He stared at his hands, feeling the lingering power pulsing through his veins. If killing monsters made him stronger, then this place wasn't a curse, it was an opportunity. He noticed something strange. Every corpse he absorbed had the same memory, a place called Base 1359. If he could find that base, maybe he'd finally learn what the hell was happening in this world. He realized that killing combat-type zombies was more useful. Their memories made him stronger and improved his fighting instincts. But just as he was planning his next move, the ground suddenly started shaking. A strange feeling swallowed him whole. He gasped and jolted awake in his room, drenched in sweat. For a moment, he didn't know if he was still dreaming. Then a girl's voice called his name, telling him it was time for dinner. It It was Qinghe. His sister Qinghe stood in the doorway, glowing like some perfect poster girl. She asked if he had been working out because he suddenly looked way more built than usual. Qiming tried to play it cool, saying it was nothing special, but she blushed, knowing damn well her brother used to be a complete noodle. Bro went from sleepy loser to gym hero overnight. Even she couldn't believe it. He thought about how his sister had always been better than him and how she'd treated him colder ever since they started school. He'd always been the weak one, but when he looked in the mirror, he was shocked at how muscular he'd become. He felt a huge amount of energy inside his body and sensed he was way stronger than before. Trying a few moves, he wondered if he had actually brought those techniques from the dream world into reality. A moment later, he sat in the kitchen, stuffing his face like nothing had happened. Lu Sheng couldn't stop eating because everything tasted unbelievably good. He wondered if Mom's cooking had somehow improved overnight. Before he realized it, he had cleared the entire table by himself. His family fussed over him, insisting he needed even more food. They said it was just puberty and that boys his age never feel full. Hearing them mention his health status being stuck at 0.8 made him uneasy. Sheng began to suspect the dream had changed him and decided to get tested at the dojo. Lu Sheng arrived at the Hongchuan dojo. He heard it was the most famous in the city. The master, Ni Hongchuan, was a rank 4 martial artist. Only those with insane stats could train here. Sheng knew he couldn't afford the cram school, but he had zombie experience from his dreams. He stepped inside and called out quietly. The instructor told Lu Sheng to start the aptitude test. MC placed his hand on the crystal ball, trying to stay chill. The ball began scanning, glowing like it was waking up. Light burst out as the numbers loaded. Result, 0.963, apprentice rank. MC stared at the screen, barely believing it. Bro went from background character to hunter prodigy in 5 seconds. He walked into the gym to check the condition. Something caught his eye and made him pause. He remembered the techniques he absorbed from the zombies in his dream. One day of dream training had pushed him past his limits. Energy burst around him as the memories activated. He struck the training dummy with all that newfound power. The training dummy rattled from the force of MC's strike. He smashed the mannequin with unnatural power. The machine flashed a score of 113. Even he was shocked. If 1 hour of dream sleep gave him this much, what would 8 hours do? The thought alone made his heart race. He tried to fall asleep right away but couldn't shut his mind off. So he went back to training, hoping that maybe exhaustion would finally force his body to sleep. When he started the training, his body moved on its own as he launched into the first technique. The sudden motion shocked him. It wasn't something he meant to do. He couldn't understand why he'd slip into a stance like that. The form was straight out of an old taekwondo textbook, a move he hadn't practiced since he was a kid. Then he realized it came from the memories he absorbed in last night's dream. Sheng could be seen training the same move over and over. He struck with his fist, repeating the technique 200th times. Each repetition sent a pulse of energy flowing through him. His breathing technique sharpened the motion even further. He knew this was a move worth mastering completely. He kept pushing, chasing the perfect form. But as the power built up, his stomach growled in protest. Training had drained his energy. Hunger hit harder than the training itself. Lu Sheng trained so hard his body couldn't convert food into energy fast enough. Normal meals weren't nearly enough anymore. Enhancement pills were the best option, but he couldn't afford them. Without them, his growth rate would start dropping fast. He needed money, and he needed it soon. Schools rewarded students for performance. That was his best chance. He had to make a display of his talents and abilities. With that in mind, Lu Sheng headed to the gym, ready for another workout. His buddy was clearly shocked of his abs that he did not have before. Sheng's friend barely recognized him. The change was too sudden. He explained he'd been training, and maybe it was time for a haircut, too. His buddy laughed, thinking he only trained for today's combat lesson. MC told him to get serious. They both needed to level up. He walked into the gym, focused and ready. The teacher announced they'd be reviewing previously learned combat techniques. His friend whispered that the teacher was a rank 2 martial artist. MC wasn't impressed. Those techniques felt basic now. The ones he learned in his dreams were leagues ahead. Then the teacher called on Yang Yifei to demonstrate in front of the class. The girls immediately swooned. Strong, handsome, and annoyingly perfect. MC's friend looked disgusted, muttering about how unfair life was. Apparently, being rich and pretty came came with bonus stats. Old Lu Sheng would have agreed without hesitation, but this version of him had no time for envy. He was done watching others shine while he stood in the background. Time to grab the whole damn school into his hands. Yang Yifei wrapped up his training session with the teacher. He was praised for his form. Not perfect, but solid. He smiled politely, but in his head he trashed the man for being low rank. Rich, pretty, and convinced his future was already better than anyone else's. The instructor asked if anyone wanted to challenge Yang Yifei. Silence followed, the room suddenly full of invisible cowards. Lu Sheng's friend wondered if anyone could even match him. The teacher, mildly annoyed, questioned how he was supposed to teach kids this timid. School gave them basic techniques, but when they joined military, only a few would ever walk the real path. The teacher looked at Lu Sheng with curiosity and a spark of excitement. He called him to the center, pairing him against the golden boy. MC's friend got nervous and told him to be careful. He just smiled. He'd trained too hard to worry now. The instructor gave them 10 minutes and told them to begin. Both fighters locked eyes. Challenge accepted, egos loaded. The instructor wondered how he'd missed someone this promising. He asked Lu Sheng for his test score. MC said 0.802. That number was so low, it made the instructor question if there was a mistake. He told them to stick to their techniques and begin. Yang Yifei laughed, asking if Lu Sheng had even paid attention in class. He offered a tip, smug and condescending. Lu Sheng nodded, thanked him, and said he was ready. In less than a millisecond, the blonde launched his fist like a missile. The crowd gasped, half shocked, half already mourning MC's chances. Yang Yifei, in his head, declared victory and crowned himself king. He mocked Lu Sheng mentally, calling him a pushover with abs and no bite. But then came the twist. Lu Sheng dodged clean, and before the blonde could process the betrayal, he got punched in the jaw. Lu Sheng's punch sent the blonde flying across the entire gym. He crashed into a group of students like a human bowling ball. Everyone froze, shock and fear written all over their faces. The teacher rushed to Yang Yifei, visibly shaken. Students stared at Lu Sheng like he'd just broken the laws of physics. Whispers spread fast. He did that with one hit? MC was stunned. He hadn't expected his punch to send someone across the entire gym. Zhong, in panic, told the students to fetch the nurse immediately. Yang Yifei was carried out on a stretcher, limbs bent like bad origami. Lu Sheng approached the teacher and apologized, saying he couldn't control his strength. Zhong reassured him the injuries weren't permanent. Then he asked Lu Sheng to follow him to his office for a private talk. Lu Sheng turned to Chiming and told him to let the teacher know he'd skip the next class. Chiming watched him walk away, wondering if this was really the same Lu Sheng he knew. Lu Sheng walked out of the room like a final boss on casual mode. He followed Zhong to his office, eyes scanning the space with quiet curiosity. Spotting a bonsai tree, he chuckled. Never imagined the instructor had a soft side. Zhong smiled back, calling it his little hobby, then glanced at Lu Sheng with suspicion. He brought up Lu Sheng's vitality score being at 0.8 and raised an eyebrow. Lu Sheng clarified it was from the last test, just like he'd said. Zhong's tone shifted, asking if he'd used any vitality-enhancing drugs. He reminded him it was strictly forbidden at school. Lu Sheng denied it, and Zhong told him to take a test. If he'd cheated, the results would crack like cheap glass. Zhong announced they'd test Lu Sheng's strength after. Sheng placed his hand on the crystal. Blue energy surged out like lightning. The score hit 1.5. Zhong's eyes widened and thought, an official martial artist at just 18. That straight-up national genius Lu Sheng walked up to the training dummy and punched. The dummy's head flew off. In the chaos, MC also obliterated teacher's favorite bonsai. Zhong, clearly devastated over his beloved plant. He stared at the ruined dummy and says it was built to withstand every attack. He looked at Lu Sheng, thinking that this kid's power surpasses rank 1 martial artist. Lu Sheng sat nervously across from Zhong, unsure what was coming next. Zhong brought up his old vitality test and asked when he took it. Lu Sheng replied, saying a month and a half ago. Teacher froze, thinking that kind of progress in 6 weeks was unheard of. He asked if Lu Sheng belonged to a high-ranking clan or trained under a grandmaster. Lu Sheng shook his head and said he comes from just a regular family, and his growth is a secret. Zhong connected all the information, remembering how long it took him to reach rank 2 and join the military. Back then, he realized something terrifying, that humans can't defeat monsters. Compared to those colossal beasts, people were weak, small, breakable. He knows that only those with monstrous strength could rival the beasts. There's a group like that, humans who are monsters in their own right. He told Lu Sheng his skills qualified him for the school's gifted class, taught by elite teachers. MC thanked him, but said his current class suited him just fine. Zhang replied that with talent like his, the school would do anything to support him. Sheng asked for two things, a martial artist scholarship and a custom schedule. Zhang connected the dots. Lu Sheng has no money and barely any free time. He approved both requests, handed him 30,000 from scholarship and a black martial artist card loaded with at least 100,000. Lu Sheng thanked with excitement and returned to class. After Lu Sheng left, Zhang smirked. Knowing the school would shine with someone like him, he decided to keep the boy a secret until the national exams. But this wasn't just about the exams anymore. For the first time in years, they finally had someone who could reach that place. The cashier praised this woman's choice. She said the tonic was perfect for women and anyone above 0.8 vitality. It cost $3,000 on sale. The mother bought it and told her daughter to train hard. Lu Sheng thought 3,000 was impossible for his family. Martial artists earned a lot, but rising from poverty was hard. Qinghe was the genius, not him. He'd wasted too much time while others pushed forward. Lu Sheng said he was lucky to be born in a world of martial artists, but he wasted it. Playing games, chasing comfort, he compared himself to a fish in a tank. The ocean was out there, but he stayed inside. Now everything changed. He broke through the surface and saw the real world. No more mistakes, not again. His thoughts aligned, and the memories of the fallen fused into him. The fist techniques finally became his own, and with that, he stepped onto a new path. He swears he'll change his life for his parents and his sister. Next, we see a zombie wandering forward, hungry for prey. It suddenly charges straight at Sheng with wild aggression. He doesn't flinch, not even for a heartbeat. One hand rises and stops the monster's attack mid-air. His strength feels absolute, calm, and terrifying. He smashes the zombie with a full-force blow. The creature flies back, after Mac praises the zombie's technique. Sheng heads toward base 1359, staying alert. He knows the base should be wrapped in black mist and swarming with zombies. Two more zombies leap at him from both sides. Sheng cuts them down instantly, adrenaline burning hot. He steps forward, scanning the horizon, and finally, the base comes into view. He jumped up and smashed the city wall with a single kick. The cracked concrete exploded, and a hole opened in front of him. He thought he wouldn't be surprised if huge monsters attacked him right away. This was base 1359, not some safe little town. He grabbed the broken edge of the wall. Slowly, he climbed up along the ruined surface. When he reached the top, he carefully looked over the other side. Ruined buildings and dead silence stretched out before him. Then his eyes caught something in a distant skyscraper. A lone human figure was standing by the window. He saw the figure more clearly and realized it looked like a zombie. A terrifying force suddenly burst out from the building where it stood. The shockwaves smashed into him and knocked him flat on the ground. Dazed, he wondered if it was some kind of psychic pressure. That power alone made his whole body tremble. That place where the zombie was still way out of his league. The one wandering below, in comparison, didn't seem that scary. For now, he had no choice but to back off and leave it for later. He spotted a whole horde of zombies shuffling through the street. He dropped down onto one of them, using its body like a springboard. With one jump, he vaulted over the group and landed safely on a wall. From there, he kept moving, slowly exploring this part of the base. Later, he slipped into an abandoned apartment. The leftovers on the table showed people had been eating here right before the apocalypse hit. As he looked around, something in room suddenly caught his eye. He touches a strange button. Green light bursts out. A woman appears, greeting him like it's totally normal. He squints, wondering if it's a hologram or some sci-fi. The glow pulses around her, way too real to ignore. Then it hits him. She's speaking his language. He wonders if this is some high-tech auto-translation. The AI introduces herself. Name's Ellie. She says she manages the network for base 1359. Lu Sheng asks her for the latest news. Ellie connects to the system. Data floods in. Year 11,024. Sun Kanghe became the 472nd ranked 10-star realm martial artist. Main base number 1 will host a global conference next week. Lu Sheng stares at the screen, not believing Thing as rank 10 martial artist. The ranking system here mirrors his own world. He wonders how far martial arts have evolved in this place. A battle replay flashes, monsters clashing with terrifying skills. This world's fusion of combat and tech is beyond imagination. Even rank 10 martial artists couldn't stop the apocalypse. They abandoned their own planet, searching the galaxy for hope. But Ellie's data shows no one ever sent back good news. Lu Sheng asks her for the full history of this world. A civilization this powerful still couldn't avoid collapse. He stares at the screen, silent. Maybe there's something to learn from their failure. Maybe he can stop the same fate from repeating. Rifts opened across the entire world, and monsters poured out. 34 years later, the first martial artist was born. That same year, the Martial Arts Alliance was founded. Lu Sheng freezes. The language and events aren't a coincidence. This is his world's history, 10,000 years in the future. He wonders if there's still a chance it's another planet. Maybe it's all just an impossible coincidence. He asks Ellie if she can search information on individual people. He searches his name, 36 results. Born in 297, died in 325, only 28 years, and listed as a civilian. He asks Ellie to search Lu Sheng Su, March 299. Access denied. Martial artist data is restricted. Ellie requests a blood sample to register him as a user. He hesitates, unsure how to give it. Then Ellie bites his finger. He blushes as blood drips. Ellie starts the analysis. Sheng blinks, confused how a hologram can do that. She twitches mid-sentence, her face glitching into a weird expression. Analysis complete. Her eyes widen unnaturally. Something's off. All the displays around him flash red. He steps back, unsure if it's a system error or something worse. His profile reappears, but the stats are different. Even his face on the screen doesn't look like him anymore. Lu Sheng wonders if the future has truly changed. He learns he ranked 23rd in Baihe and joined the Tian'an military. Died at 37 in the Southwest War Zone. No wife, no legacy. His past up to age 18 remains unchanged. There's even a note about his sudden power awakening. Yet that version of him didn't alter the world's fate. He asks Ellie if strength alone can rewrite destiny. He's not even marked as a genius. Across thousands of years, only a few became legends. The data says he had vitality 2 and strength 257. With Dream World, he'll beat that instantly. How could he ever be only 23rd in the city? His future will go far beyond these numbers. The future of humanity rests on his shoulders. Lu Sheng won't run from it. He'll face it head on. He will rewrite the ending they all feared. He will save humanity. Lu Sheng woke up and sat down to eat breakfast with his family. He calmly joined the table like to him it was just another normal morning. His mom asked why he wasn't wearing his school uniform. MC explained that the teacher had allowed him to study from home. His sister was surprised that he even had that option at school. Lu Sheng stood up from the table and said he was already full. He told them he was going back to his room to train. His sister Qinghe felt her brother was changing with each passing day. He wasn't the fool from before anymore, and now seemed dark and mysterious. Lu Sheng closed his door, and his phone started ringing. He picked up and saw it was Teacher Zhong. Teacher Zhong said his scholarship money had arrived and told him to come get it. Zhong wonders why Sheng didn't come to school today, especially since they were supposed to sort out his schedule. Sheng says he doesn't have much time left, so he won't waste any of it anymore. He adds that he can't explain the situation clearly right now. He wants to show his strength in full and shock everyone around him. Only by revealing more talent can he gain more in return, so he needs to rise as fast as possible. Lu Sheng appeared once again in that dream world. He asked Ellie for all cultivation methods, reflections, and martial arts notes he could access with his current permissions. Ellie started the search and found 465,751 results. MC said that was way too many and told her to filter only the best ones for a rank 1 martial artist. Ellie began filtering the database. From 34,521 matching techniques, she picked out only the highest value ones. In the end, Only 3 results remained. Stellar body refining technique created by Wang He, natural breathing technique developed by Yang Yizhou, crystal visualization technique from Duan Yifeng. All 3 were rank 11 martial artists, while today's highest rank is only 9. It's unreal that Sheng now stands before their legacy. The World Martial Alliance recorded these techniques, hoping someone would find them in the future. The stellar body refining technique turns the user into a miniature universe, anchoring the mind in perfect focus. It refines both qi and blood, forging a stronger, more resilient physique. Each blood cell becomes a star, and the surging blood transforms into a galaxy of its own. The technique compresses muscle density to terrifying extremes. Sheng wonders, if such power was once basic training for rank 1, then what kind of techniques come after? He says it's time to move on to the next one. Sheng begins stage 1 of the natural breathing technique. With fire breathing, he inhales air that feels like flames. The scene burns around him. He opens his eyes and says it's like countless flickers of fire are swirling in his lungs. His blood feels like it's boiling, and this is only the first breathing technique. MC moves on to the next. Crystal visualization technique. It's one of the hardest in martial arts, requiring a purified mind and reinforced will. MC wonders if this technique helps cultivate spiritual power. He closes his eyes, and when he opens them again, he's in a space that looks like the cosmos. He questions whether he's entered his own mind. In front of him stands a massive statue of himself. He approaches it, saying a true martial artist must have no distractions. He wonders how he's supposed to practice this and tries interacting with the statue. Nothing happens, so he gives up. He wakes up completely exhausted, saying this level of fatigue is something else. It's nothing like the tiredness after dreaming. He says he stinks and wonders if it's his own sweat. Training his mind seems to affect the real world. These techniques are tough. He decides to wash up. His cultivation is speeding up like never before. With scholarship money, he'll refine tonics and elixirs that could reshape history. Sheng heads to school. Zhong gives him money and tells him to inform him next time if he decides to skip. MC thanks him and promises not to cause trouble anymore. Teacher says he should do what he needs to, but show up at least once a week. Just 2 days in, and Zhong already can't control him. Sheng's glad to finally have some cash. With medical prescriptions from the future, he knows exactly which tonics to buy. The best for him now are the muscle and blood strengthening decoction and the narrow nourishing pill. Sheng says even simple prescriptions need professional equipment. A tiny dose change can shift a tonic's effect. He'll need a proper lab but can't afford the gear yet. Maybe he can rent equipment somewhere. An old man laughs at his request. He says Sheng might break something and they won't share secret recipes. He slams the door and tells Sheng to leave. That was already his 7th try. MC checks his ingredients. Enough for the decoction. Zhong's card had 80,000, not 30,000. On his way home, Sheng decides to buy equipment online and spots a medical hall in a narrow alley. Sheng walks inside and spots a guy behind the counter glued to his phone. The cashier doesn't even look up, just keeps scrolling. He glances at Sheng, bored, and tells him to grab whatever he wants and bring it over to pay. He adds that he's not in the mood to talk. Sheng says he doesn't want to buy anything, and the cashier immediately warns him not to try running out without paying. He mentions the store has cameras, while Sheng thinks that at least other shopkeepers asked what he needed. This one won't even speak. Sheng presses down on the cashier's arm to get his attention. The guy snaps and starts cursing at him. Sheng pushes harder, clearly annoyed. The cashier panics and asks what he wants. Sheng asks if they have an alchemical lab, and the guy wonders why he'd even need that. Sheng says if they do have one, he's got a proposal. The cashier leads him toward the lab, but blocks the entrance with his arm. He says the deal is $500 per hour, and Sheng can use it for only 3 hours. MC nods, he understands, and offers to pay up front. The guy wishes him luck and lets him in. Sheng puts on a lab coat and gets ready. He starts his first attempt at crafting the tonic. The first ingredient is mutant green-scaled lizard. He removes the scales, adds a neutralizing agent, and keeps the mix at stable temperature. Next, he refines a condensed moonstone using a radioactive laser. The final ingredient is 30 grams of lithified tuna tree root, which he slices with a specialized tool. He combines all components in precise doses. Somehow, he manages to create the muscle and blood strengthening decoction on his first try. Surprised by the success, class, he decides to test it himself. He begins drinking the prepared mixture to check its effects. At first, he feels nothing. The tonic has no taste. He wonders if it even worked. But then a sudden sensation explodes through his body. He collapses to the ground. Screaming in agony, his body begins to convulse. Lu Sheng lies on the floor, completely drained. He's surprised by the result. His vitality is rising even more than expected. He's amazed that such power didn't cause any physical harm. Besides boosting vitality, the tonic also improved his skin and complexion, a true crystallization of 10,000 years of knowledge. Suddenly, someone knocks on the lab door. Sheng opens it and sees the cashier. MC says time isn't up yet and tells him not to interrupt while he's inside. The guy replies he doesn't have time to explain and needs to leave through the back door immediately. He says his boss just returned. Outside, a sleek black car pulls up. A woman steps out. Long legs, sharp heels, and an attitude that could freeze fire. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, don't forget to like and subscribe.